Annie Oakley, a famous sharpshooter from the Old West, was celebrated for her extraordinary firearms skills. Born in 1860 in Ohio, she began shooting as a child to help provide for her family. Oakley's talent led her to excel in shooting exhibitions and join Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, where her remarkable performances thrilled audiences. She defied gender expectations and became a symbol of American culture, proving that women could match men in. Before we start, I would appreciate it if you could subscribe to our channel and support us with your like, so we can continue bringing you more content like this. Without further ado, let's get started. In 1866, Seth Kinman, a well-known hunter from the frontier, gifted President Andrew Johnson a distinctive chair crafted from elk antlers and leather. This unique piece reflected the rustic aesthetic of the era. The presentation occurred in Washington, D.C., showcasing Kinman's artistic talent and expertise. President Andrew Johnson's life took a tragic turn in 1864 when a Crow tribe warrior murdered his wife. Overcome with grief and anger, Johnson swore to seek justice, embarking on a journey of confrontation. His actions earned him the nickname Liver Eater due to his scalping practices. This chapter of his life highlights the conflicts and challenges of the Old West and demonstrates the lasting effects of personal loss. This photograph features Rose Dunn, known as the Rose of Cimarron, a prominent figure in frontier history. At the age of 15 in 1895, she reportedly assisted her outlaw boyfriend during a gunfight in Oklahoma. This clash between lawmen and criminals resulted in multiple deaths. Rose became famous for her association with outlaws, embodying an era when the West was beginning to establish law and order. A historic image of Olive Oatman, taken in 1856 shortly after her rescue, tells a story of survival. As a child, she was captured by the Yavapai tribe and later traded to the Mojave. While living with the Mojave, she received a blue tattoo on her chin, symbolizing protection and belief in the afterlife. This tattoo, prominently visible in the photograph, became a hallmark of her remarkable story in the American West. This photograph of Pearl Hart, a famous outlaw from the frontier, was taken in 1899. Alongside a partner, she carried out one of the last known stagecoach robberies, an event that drew widespread attention. The crime occurred in Arizona and made Hart a well-known figure, especially after a feature in Cosmopolitan magazine. After her arrest, she was imprisoned at Yuma Territorial Prison, but received a pardon in 1902 for reasons that remain unclear. Bill Doolin, another notorious outlaw of the Wild West, began his criminal activities in the 1890s as a member of the Dalton Gang. After the gang's collapse, he formed his own group called the Wild Bunch, which committed numerous bank, train, and stagecoach robberies. Known for his leadership and sharpshooting skills, Doolin was captured on August 24, 1896, by Deputy Marshal Heck Thomas in Oklahoma. A photograph from 1874 shows General George Custer and Colonel Ludlow standing beside a grizzly bear, symbolizing the exploration and hunting pursuits of the time. Custer, famous for his role in the Civil War and Western expeditions, was also recognized for his hunting achievements. This image reflects the camaraderie and sense of accomplishment associated with grizzly hunting, a significant feat during that era. Lastly, we see a photograph of Wild Bill Hickok, taken between 1865 and 1866. One of the most legendary gunslingers of the Old West, Hickok's photos often depict him in simple clothing rather than theatrical costumes, emphasizing his authentic persona. In this image, Wild Bill Hickok is shown wearing his own clothes. Renowned for his skill with pistols, Hickok had thrilling adventures in towns like Abilene, Kansas, and Deadwood, South Dakota. He was also a celebrated poker player, and his action-packed life solidified his status as a legend of the American West. This photograph depicts Billy the Kid, one of the most infamous outlaws of the Wild West. Born Henry McCarty in 1859 in New York, He left the city to pursue new experiences. In a short time, Billy became involved in cattle theft and gunfights. His ability to evade capture and his daring nature earned him legendary status. He was killed in 1881 by Sheriff Pat Garrett at the age of 21, cementing his place as an iconic figure in American history. This photo shows Pat Garrett, the sheriff who became famous for killing Billy the Kid. As sheriff of Lincoln County, New Mexico, Garrett was determined to apprehend Billy. After a long pursuit, he finally confronted and killed him on July 14, 1881, in Fort Sumner. This act brought Garrett fame but also sparked controversy, as many saw Billy the Kid as a charismatic and complex figure. A photograph from 1871 captures William "Buffalo Bill" Cody posing with a deer, highlighting his reputation as a skilled hunter. Cody gained fame as a scout and buffalo hunter, supplying food for railroad workers. He became a legend of the Wild West through the creation of Buffalo Bill's Wild West Show, which showcased cowboy skills and reenacted historical battles. His image played a significant role in shaping how the American West was perceived in popular culture. This 1878 photo shows William "Brazen Bill" Brazelton, a notorious outlaw of the Wild West, wearing his trademark mask. Brazelton was infamous for robbing stagecoaches in the Tucson, Arizona, area. To hide his identity, he often used disguises during his heists. In 1878, he was captured and killed during a confrontation with law enforcement. His mask became a symbol of the outlaw era in the American frontier. This photo features Goldie Williams, also known as Mag Murphy, who was arrested in Nebraska for vagrancy on January 29, 1898. Her defiant expression after the arrest reflects the challenges faced by women in the Wild West. Many women of the era struggled to survive and fought for their rights. This moment underscores the difficulties of frontier life and the evolving roles of women in society. In the 1880s, Geronimo, leader of the Apache tribe, fiercely defended his people and land against settlers and the U.S. government. Known for his guerrilla tactics, he led his tribe through years of conflict to protect Apache culture and territory. His resistance continued until 1886, when he and his followers surrendered after numerous battles. A photograph from 1889 depicts the famous Deadwood stagecoach, a key mode of transportation in the Wild West. It carried passengers and gold between Deadwood, South Dakota, and Cheyenne, Wyoming. The stagecoach was frequently targeted by outlaws like Black Bart. Essential for connecting remote towns during westward expansion, the stagecoach was eventually replaced by railroads at the end of the 19th century. This image portrays Kit Carson, a pivotal figure in the history of the Wild West. Born on December 24, 1809, and passing on May 23, 1868, Carson was a fur trader and explorer known for his survival skills and bravery. He served as a guide for explorer John C. Fremont, helping to map new routes westward. Carson also worked as an Indian agent, fostering communication between settlers and Native American tribes. A photograph from 1897 shows bartenders serving customers in a typical Wild West saloon. These establishments were central to life in frontier towns, where cowboys, miners, and travelers gathered to drink, gamble, and socialize. With their swinging doors and wooden bars, saloons were iconic symbols of life in the American West. By the turn of the 20th century, many saloons disappeared as modernization and new laws took hold. This photo captures an exhilarating rodeo in California, where people of all ages gathered to celebrate the spirit of the Old West. One standout performance featured a skilled woman rider and her horse jumping over a convertible car, leaving the audience in awe. This scene embodies the courage, talent, and enthusiasm that defined the Wild West, encapsulating the vibrant culture of the time. The image portrays settlers fleeing during the Dakota War of 1862, a conflict between the Sioux tribes and the U.S. government. The war, sparked by disputes over land and food shortages, led to violent attacks on settlers. Many were forced to abandon their homes and seek safety. This significant event illustrates the hardships settlers faced and the tensions between Native Americans and new arrivals seeking land in the West. A photograph titled A Real Western Girl, taken in Del Rio, Texas, in 1906, depicts a young woman in traditional attire, representing the resilience and pioneering spirit of women in the Old West. Del Rio, near the Mexican border, was a growing community shaped by agriculture and cattle ranching. Women in the West played vital roles in managing farms and families, enduring the challenges of a harsh and isolated environment. Deadwood, located in the Black Hills of Dakota, became a bustling town during the 1876 gold rush. The discovery of gold attracted thousands of miners, merchants, and adventurers seeking fortune. The town rapidly transformed into a vibrant hub filled with tents and makeshift structures. Deadwood also became infamous for historical figures like Wild Bill Hickok, who was murdered there. If you are liking the video, I would appreciate it if you could leave us your like and subscription. That would be helping us a lot to continue bringing you more content like this. Let's continue. An 1895 photo shows a group of men playing Faro, one of the most popular card games in the Old West. Faro was a popular game often played in saloons where cowboys, miners, and gamblers gathered to test their luck. Unlike poker, Faro was recognized for its simplicity and fast-paced nature, attracting both novices and seasoned players. This image showcases a group of women in a western town around 1880. Known as Scarlet Women, many were involved in prostitution, a significant aspect of life despite its illegality. Brothels were common, especially near gold mines, offering companionship to men who often faced isolation. Some madams who managed these establishments gained respect in their communities by donating portions of their earnings. This photo highlights an essential facet of social life in the Old West. Another historic image captures the pivotal moment on May 10, 1869, at Promontory Summit, Utah. The completion of the Transcontinental Railroad linked the Union Pacific and Central Pacific lines, uniting the eastern and western United States for the first time. Built through the tireless efforts of immigrant workers, including Chinese and Irish laborers, the railroad transformed transportation by reducing travel from months to mere days. It paved the way for trade and settlement across the western frontier. A photo from 1894 depicts a massive dust storm sweeping across Midland, Texas. This striking image demonstrates the formidable challenges settlers faced in the arid American West. Extreme weather events like droughts and dust storms frequently disrupted lives, damaging crops and making survival difficult during the westward expansion era. An image from 1892 features a pile of bison skulls, symbolizing the devastating decline of the species in the 19th century. Overhunting, driven by demand for hides and meat, nearly brought the bison to extinction. These animals were crucial to many Native American tribes, and their loss underscores the environmental and cultural consequences of westward expansion and industrialization. A photograph from the 1870s captures the somber mood of the Victorian era, characterized by soft lighting and serious expressions. Many portraits of this period were taken in studios, reflecting a culture focused on remembrance. Photography was a burgeoning art form, and postmortem portraits were not uncommon, serving as poignant reminders of the connection between life and death. An 1891 photograph portrays Spotted Tail, a prominent leader of the Brule Band of the Sioux Nation. Known for resisting westward expansion, the Brule played a critical role in the Indian Wars as tribes fought to preserve their way of life against increasing U.S. colonization. A lively saloon scene from 1910 brings the Old West to life, featuring cowboys and saloon girls enjoying themselves. The men are dressed in stylish attire, including hats and bandanas, and some are armed, reflecting the customs of the time. The women's hairstyles are reminiscent of early 20th century fashion. The well-stocked bar and bustling atmosphere illustrate the central role of saloons as social hubs. This iconic imagery continues to influence our perception of the Wild West, especially through classic Western films. An 1880 photograph, though lacking precise identification, is believed by many historians to feature John Kenney, a notorious leader of a feared cattle rustling gang in southern New Mexico. By 1875, Kenney's gang had gained infamy for their bold cattle thefts, causing significant concern among local farmers and ranchers. Texas Jack Vermillion, a renowned gunslinger and outlaw of the Old West, is captured in this undated photograph. He became famous for his involvement in numerous conflicts and his alliance with legendary figures such as Wyatt Earp. Known for his firearms skills, Texas Jack played a key role in pursuing the gang responsible for the murder of Morgan Earp. In 1882, this photograph captures the OK Corral, a site renowned for the infamous shootout that occurred in 1881. Located in Tombstone, Arizona, the corral became synonymous with the clashes between lawmen and outlaws. Among these was the legendary confrontation involving Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, and the Clanton family. Although parts of the corral were destroyed in a fire, its legacy as a symbol of law and violence in the Wild West remains intact. Today, the OK Corral is preserved as a historic landmark representing the frontier era. This image displays the mask and leather boots of George Parrott, a notorious figure of the Wild West. Parrott was well known for his involvement in cattle-related schemes and his use of disguises to avoid recognition. Captured in 1878, his story highlights the challenges faced by outlaws and the culture of the time. The mask and boots have since become emblematic of the struggles and conflicts that characterized the expansion of the American frontier. In 1893, a photo taken in Perry, Oklahoma, shows United States Marshals posing alongside clerical staff. This scene underscores the importance of collaboration between local authorities and law enforcement during the Wild West period. Perry, a rapidly growing town at the time, was evolving into a hub of commerce and culture. The presence of the Marshals reflects the ongoing efforts to establish order amidst the transformative changes occurring in the region. Another photograph portrays Nicholas and Virginia Earp, parents of the legendary Wyatt Earp. While the exact date of the image is unknown, it sheds light on the family background of one of the West's most iconic lawmen. Nicholas, a veteran of the War of 1812, and Virginia raised a large family across various frontier towns. Wyatt Earp's legacy would be forever cemented through his role in the famous shootout at the OK Corral in 1881. Wyatt Earp, remembered as a legendary sheriff and lawman, played a pivotal role in the Old West. He gained fame for his participation in the historic gunfight at the OK Corral on October 26, 1881, in Tombstone, Arizona. Alongside his brothers and Doc Holliday, Earp faced off against a group of outlaws in one of the most iconic standoffs in Western history. Wyatt Earp became a symbol of justice and resilience, embodying the spirit of the Wild West. If you liked the video, I would appreciate it if you could leave us a like and subscribe to our channel. That motivates us to continue bringing you more videos like this. See you next time.